If you're watching this, then you probably want to get jacked like your favourite fitness influencer, but you probably also realise that like me, you don't have the same genetics as Alex Eubank and David Laid. But you probably also realise that if you actually eat right and train right, you can still get fucking jacked. And if you're in that group of people who realise this, then you should count yourself lucky, because you're still going to make way more progress than those who have those limiting beliefs. So here's how these guys with crazy physiques actually train and how I've started utilising that in my own training. The first thing that you should realise is that these guys who are seen as the aesthetic gods of the industry are actually really damn strong. Even Alex Eubank, who is literally just a guy who is seen for his aesthetics, he's not a powerlifter at all, he can actually deadlift 220 kilograms, and that was before he hopped on TRT. So he's pretty strong considering his weight of 180 pounds and the fact that he doesn't really train for strength at all. He almost never deadlifts. The exact same can be said for David Laid, who's probably like the number one person in this generation who's seen as the most aesthetic guy out there. Nowadays there's new guys coming along, but David Laid is like the OG of our generation. He is insanely strong, and in fact back in the day he was focused more on powerlifting than bodybuilding, to the extent that he actually injured himself so badly and constantly took painkillers to numb the pain so he could go back and try and lift more the next session, even though technically he was really badly injured and in severe pain if he didn't really overdo painkillers. Obviously I'm not trying to tell you to become like David Laid and get severely injured and have to become reliant on painkillers just so you can train, but what I am trying to tell you is that there's a pattern here, that these guys who are super aesthetic are actually really strong also. Here's what their workouts actually look like. I'm going to take Lex Little on a chest day as an example. He's one of my favourite natural bodybuilders. The first thing he hits is heavy bench press. He does 140 kilograms for a couple sets of 5. This is really actually very heavy and very strong if you know anything about bench pressing and lifting weights. Then he goes on to incline dumbbell press for a couple sets of 8 to 10 reps. Again, the rep range shows that he's lifting pretty heavy. I don't know what actually weight he was using on those dumbbells, but it was clearly very heavy if he was doing failure within 8 to 10 reps, considering how strong he is. The next thing he went on to was incline Smith machine bench. On this he did 6 very controlled reps with 100 kilograms. That's very heavy, especially considering he's not actually like a power lift. That's very heavy, especially considering he's not a massive guy like some of these dudes who are known for lifting super heavy weights. Like that guy Jim Reaper, I think if you go on TikTok you'll see that guy. He's like fucking massive, and of course he can lift massive weights. But Lex is actually like a fairly small guy compared to those dudes. He's not like really fat or anything. He's extremely aesthetic and lean. That whole workout he stayed below 10 reps. This shows that he was training very heavy and trying to actually push the strength of his muscles. You do see in his other workouts oftentimes that he'll actually do sets with more isolation exercises. For example, I've seen other chest workouts he's done where he does the same heavy bench press, heavy incline dumbbell press and things like that, but he follows it up with cable flies and stuff like that. So usually you'll see this variation where you see they do heavy compound lifts and then they add in some isolations after that, but they really push extremely hard on the heavy compounds, and that's basically the main focus of their workout. I think it's also necessary to point out that while he might actually say in the titles of his videos that he's ego lifting and that he is actually lifting very heavy, he's doing so with very good form and he's controlling the weight in a way where he's never going to get injured doing so. This training style of training very heavy on compound lifts most of the workout and then doing some isolation exercises seems very effective for gaining muscle, especially I think as natural lifters, because it means you've got very high intensity, moving a lot of load and a lot of weight, which is a lot of strain on your muscles, but it's not necessarily a lot of volume, which means that your fatigue is lower, and as a natural that allows you to recover better than it would. If you were enhanced you could do a bunch of volume, but as a natural you need to make the most of your sets, and I think pushing them heavy and lifting good heavy weights is actually a very effective way of doing this. So if you were to actually write out a checklist of how the best natural lifters train, it would look something like this. You lift heavy on a compound movement and gain strength. You maintain a high intensity at or close to failure, and you finish off your muscles with isolation exercises, again going to or past failure on these isolation exercises very often. If you tick these boxes and do this very consistently, then you'll be able to build a very good physique if your diet is on point. And if you actually liked this video and you thought that it was valuable and you actually learned something from this, then I'll make a video on how to optimize your diet so that you can utilize training like this properly and not waste it, because a lot of the times your physique is actually built more in the kitchen than in the gym. Obviously if you don't go to the gym you're still going to have a shit physique, but if you're not eating right then you're wasting your time and you're not able to recover and build muscle properly. So if you're actually interested in me making another video based on that topic, maybe how the influencers design their diet and also what the science says to optimize your diet for muscle growth, then let me know in the comments below. I'll also put our Instagram down in the comments so that you can get into contact with us for any questions you have or for one-to-one coaching. Keep making gains. I'll see you in the next one.